Have you ever noticed how the people who chase attention the hardest seem to get the least of it? While those who remain mysteriously quiet, almost untouchable, become magnetic forces that others can't stop thinking about? What if I told you there's a psychological principle so powerful, so deeply rooted in human nature, that it has been weaponized by history's most brilliant strategists to create an almost gravitational pull on the human mind? Imagine being able to walk away from someone, and instead of being forgotten, you become the very thing they can't escape. Your absence doesn't erase you from their thoughts. It amplifies you. Your silence doesn't diminish your presence. It makes you unforgettable. Think about the last time someone became completely unavailable to you. Not through cruelty or games, but through genuine detachment. Maybe they stopped replying as quickly. Maybe they seemed perfectly content without your validation. Maybe they just existed in their own world, with a calm confidence that didn't require your approval. Something shifted, didn't it? Suddenly, you found yourself thinking about them more, checking your phone, wondering what they were doing, replaying conversations in your mind, searching for clues about what changed. That psychological shift wasn't an accident. It was the activation of one of the deepest patterns in human psychology, a pattern that ancient strategists understood centuries before modern psychology even existed. Machiavelli, the infamous political philosopher who decoded power dynamics with surgical precision, observed something remarkable about human desire. He noticed that people don't actually value what's readily available to them. We're wired to pursue what retreats from us, to treasure what remains just beyond our grasp. He watched as rulers who made themselves too accessible lost their mystique and authority, while those who maintained strategic distance commanded reverence and obsession. But here's where it gets interesting. When you combine Machiavelli's understanding of psychological leverage with the ancient wisdom of Stoic philosophy, something extraordinary emerges. Not manipulation, but self-mastery. Not games, but genuine power rooted in discipline and emotional sovereignty. Most people operate from a place of emotional desperation without even realizing it. They text back immediately because they're afraid of seeming uninterested. They over-explain themselves because they're terrified of being misunderstood. They make themselves endlessly available because they believe that's what caring looks like. They show all their cards, share every thought, broadcast every feeling, hoping that transparency will create connection. But the opposite happens. The more they reveal, the less interesting they become. The more they chase, the faster others run. The more they explain their value, the less others perceive it. It's a tragic paradox that plays out in relationships, friendships, and even professional dynamics every single day. Now imagine a different approach. Imagine having the emotional discipline to step back when others would desperately lean in. Imagine being comfortable with silence in a world addicted to constant noise and validation. Imagine not needing to prove yourself, explain yourself, or chase anyone as approval because you've cultivated something far more powerful within yourself: unshakable self-respect and emotional independence. This isn't about playing hard to get or following some dating strategy you found online. This is about fundamentally transforming how you relate to your own worth and, consequently, how others perceive and respond to you. The ancient Stoics understood that the only thing we truly control is ourselves. Not other people's opinions, not outcomes, not whether someone chooses to value us. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire yet remained profoundly humble, wrote extensively about the power of self-governance. He taught that our reactions, our discipline, our choices are the only domains where we hold absolute authority. When you internalize this truth, something remarkable happens. You stop performing for an audience. You stop trying to convince people of your worth. You simply embody it through your actions, your composure, your ability to remain centered regardless of external circumstances. But here's the part that creates the magnetic effect, the part that makes people unable to stop thinking about you. When you combine this Stoic self-mastery with strategic withdrawal, you create a psychological gap in someone's awareness. Human minds are pattern recognition machines. We're constantly trying to predict, understand, and categorize the people around us. When someone suddenly becomes unpredictable, when their emotional temperature shifts from warm engagement to calm detachment, our brains go into overdrive, trying to decode what happened. Did we do something wrong? Why aren't they reaching out? What are they thinking? This isn't about playing games or being intentionally cruel. It's about having enough self-respect to withdraw your energy when it's not being valued or reciprocated. Think about fire for a moment. When you approach it correctly, with respect and awareness, it provides warmth and light. But if you disrespect it or take it for granted, you get burned or it simply goes out, leaving you in the cold. You don't become like this through manipulation tactics or following scripts. You become like this through genuine transformation, by developing such deep self-respect that you naturally refuse to tolerate disrespect or take anyone for granted. The transformation deepens when you understand that predictability is the death of desire. Machiavelli observed this in political alliances and power structures, but it applies equally to personal relationships. When someone knows exactly how you'll respond, when they can predict your reactions with perfect accuracy, you become emotionally flat in their perception. There's no tension, no curiosity, no psychological charge. You become like background music, pleasant perhaps, but ultimately ignorable. But when your energy becomes variable, when you're warm and engaged one moment and then calmly detached the next, when you can be present without being needy and absent without being cruel, you create an emotional rhythm that others can't control or predict. This unpredictability isn't moodiness or instability. It's the natural result of having strong boundaries and refusing to be taken for granted. The Stoics taught that we shouldn't be ruled by our emotions, but rather rule them. Epictetus emphasized that it's not external events that disturb us, but our interpretations and reactions to those events. When you master your emotional temperature, when you can remain calm and centered regardless of how others behave, you become psychologically mysterious. People wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, whether you even care. They try to read your silence, decode your distance, understand your calm. And in attempting to understand you, they become increasingly invested in you. Your emotional sovereignty becomes magnetic because it is so rare in a world where most people wear their hearts on their sleeves and their insecurities on their faces. This leads to what Machiavelli would have called quiet dominance. The truly powerful never announce their strength or argue about their worth. They don't raise their voices, make threats, or beg to be understood. They simply carry themselves with a calm authority that others instinctively recognize and respect. This isn't arrogance, which is actually rooted in insecurity and the need for external validation. This is genuine confidence, the kind that comes from knowing yourself deeply and not needing anyone else's approval to validate that knowledge. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, wrote that the person who conquers themselves is the mightiest warrior. You don't need to control others, manipulate situations, or play mind games. You just need to master your reactions, discipline your habits, and maintain unwavering focus on your own growth and values. When you walk into any situation with this kind of calm self-possession, people feel it immediately. You don't need to announce your value or prove your worth. Your composure speaks volumes. Your ability to remain unruffled by drama or chaos commands respect without demanding it. The insecure will be intimidated by your emotional stability. The strong will be attracted to it. And those who once took you for granted will suddenly realize what they had when they see how unbothered you are by their absence. This is the emotional reversal that creates obsession. Machiavelli noted that when you give people a taste of something valuable and then withdraw it, their desire for it intensifies exponentially. It's basic human psychology. We crave what we've lost more intensely than what we never had. This is why people obsess over past relationships or missed opportunities, not because those things were perfect, but because the loss of them created an emotional void that the mind keeps trying to fill. But here's the crucial difference between manipulation and self-respect. You're not creating this dynamic intentionally to hurt someone or play games. You're simply choosing yourself when your presence is no longer valued or respected. You show someone your warmth, your loyalty, your genuine care, and then when it's not reciprocated or appreciated, you calmly withdraw. Not to punish them, but to honor yourself. This disciplined withdrawal burns deeper than any argument, explanation, or emotional outburst ever could. You don't need to say they'll miss you or regret losing you. Your composed silence communicates it far more powerfully than words ever could. In a world drowning in noise, constant communication, and desperate bids for attention, silence has become a revolutionary act. Most people can't handle it because it forces them to confront their own thoughts and insecurities. But when you become comfortable with silence, when you can stand firm in it without needing to fill every gap with words or explanations, people begin projecting their emotions and anxieties into that space. They overthink, create narratives, wonder endlessly what you're thinking and feeling. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their chaos back at them. And the more disciplined and centered you remain, the more their own emotional turbulence becomes apparent in contrast. This is real influence, the kind that doesn't require force or persuasion. You're not chasing anyone or trying to convince them of anything. You're simply existing with quiet strength, and others are naturally drawn into your orbit, compelled to understand the source of your calm. So if you want to embody this forbidden wisdom with integrity, start by detaching emotionally from outcomes and other people's opinions. Don't respond to every message the instant it arrives. Don't explain yourself when you're misunderstood by people who aren't genuinely trying to understand you. Don't broadcast every detail of your life seeking validation from an audience. Become someone whose depths aren't immediately visible, whose full story isn't told in social media posts and constant availability. Be genuinely kind, but not endlessly available. Be wise, but never boastful. Speak less and observe more. Let people earn your time, energy, and deeper levels of access, because what's given freely and constantly is rarely valued appropriately. The moment you stop trying to impress others is the moment you begin to genuinely influence them. This is the paradox at the heart of personal power. It flows naturally to those who need it least, to those who are complete within themselves. And when you reach this state, something shifts in how others perceive you. They notice your absence more than they noticed your presence. They remember your calm responses rather than forgetting your desperate words. They wonder why you didn't chase, explain, or break your composure. Your restraint becomes their obsession. The memory of your quiet strength begins to occupy space in their mind because you didn't demand attention. You earned it through discipline and self-respect. You didn't beg for validation. You commanded it through unshakable inner peace. Remember, this ancient method isn't about manipulation or games. It's about self-control, about choosing where you invest your precious time and emotional energy. The Stoics called it virtue and living according to nature. Machiavelli called it strategic power. But both understood the same fundamental truth about human psychology and respect. Those who can govern themselves effectively govern their entire world. If you want to become truly unforgettable, stop trying to be universally loved and start earning genuine respect through your actions and boundaries. Don't waste energy explaining your worth to people who are determined not to see it. Simply embody your values and live them consistently. And when someone finally realizes what they lost when they took you for granted, it will be too late, because you have moved forward into a life built on self-respect and emotional sovereignty. The strongest form of power isn't revenge or proving someone wrong. It's the inner peace that comes from knowing your worth, regardless of who recognizes it.